other people's rights to go back to work and to go to school. And so I'm asking all of us to try harder. And you may say, how do I know we're not? Because we see it. Our inspectors see it. It's crowding in bars, crowding in restaurants, crowding on boats lined up next to each other, many more than 25 people, social gathering, not mask wearing. And also, we see it in our contact tracing. We're seeing a lot of cases contact trace back to backyard parties, where there were more than 20, 25 people, and not surprisingly, the whole group of people in that backyard got sick, and then they left the backyard party and they went someplace else and infected more people. So it's crystal clear from the data, from the inspections, and from the contact tracing. The Department of Health continues to do a phenomenal job with contact tracing, and it's frustrating. It is frustrating when we see that we continue to lose lives, and yet people are just not paying attention to the rules. And when you do the contact tracing and you find out that a dozen or more cases were attributed to a single backyard barbecue where there were 30 people. So we have to try harder. We have to try harder. Have folks over, 10 people. Wear masks. Make sure no one is there if they're sick. It's simple, it's necessary, and it'll save lives. I especially want to talk to young folks, people between 20 and 29. You guys have to try harder. The overall test positive rate in Rhode Island right now is about 2%. So that's excellent. We have to stay below 5%. Our percent positive rate among 20 to 29-year-olds is 3.5%. Now, it's not because 20 to 29-year-olds are more susceptible to the virus. We know they're not. It's because too many young people aren't following the rules. Now, the good news is if you're healthy 20 to 29, probably your risk of mortality from this disease is not as high. For that, you're going out into the community and infecting people who are susceptible who are winding up in the hospital or worse. So, and again, this isn't unique to Rhode Island. This is playing out all over the country. We're seeing that group, and I know it's summer. I know it's a time to be with your friends. I understand it all. You just need to know that when you're out and you're at a rented beach house and there's 40 people at a party, you're breaking the law, people's lives, you're making it harder for kids to go back to school, and you're contributing for a 12.5% unemployment rate. So we all belong to each other. It's not just about you. It's about what you're doing that hurts other people, and I'm asking you please to try harder and just obey the rules. Same goes for bars. I'd like to remind everybody what the rules are around bars. Currently in the state of Rhode Island, bars are not allowed to operate like bars that we think of. They can operate like a restaurant. Bartenders can make drinks, and those drinks can be delivered to tables by waiters without people sitting in a bar. You cannot sit at a bar with a bartender, order a drink, and sit there. If you're going into a restaurant and that's happening, it's not allowed. If we come in and inspect your restaurant and that's happening, we're going to close your restaurant. It's not allowed. You can have socially distanced seating at a bar to serve food as long as there's no bartender there, and there can be a plexiglass divider there for a bartender to pass drinks to a server. But right now in Rhode Island, you cannot operate a bar like a normal bar, what we would think of as a bar. Think of it as a restaurant. Unfortunately, we aren't seeing what we need to be seeing in terms of compliance with bars. So I am now looking at different options for how we can change the regulations for how bars operate. We're going to do a big round of inspection this week and this weekend, and if we don't see better compliance, then I'll be back next week with with more stringent rules and a further shutdown of bars, which, by the way, I really don't want to do. You know, I've been trying to talk to a lot of restaurant owners, going out as much as I can, and folks are struggling. Even the restaurants that are back open, at the very best, they're doing 60-70% of their typical business. The last thing that we want to do for them is for me to have to say cutting back their business. But I will say that will be necessary if by this point next week we don't see better compliance. Because again, we're all linked together. I understand it's a social time of the year, but if we can't keep our cases where they are or lower, that'll infringe on our ability to get the kids back to school. It'll infringe on our ability to continue to open the economy. And so we just all need to know that we have to try a little harder with social gatherings, keep them smaller, and I'm asking restaurant owners and bar owners to be more vigilant about enforcing the social distancing, and frankly, Rhode Islanders, us. Let me say this, I'll keep it very simple. If you find yourself at a restaurant, in a crowd, standing in a bar, in a crowd, you're doing something wrong. And I would ask you please to, either leave or go find a seat or make a different plan. Okay, I want to talk for a second about testing. There's been a lot of news lately all around the country around testing delays, and unfortunately, Rhode Island is not immune from those delays. You hear stories, and I hear stories of people waiting a week or more to get their test results. I can tell you that's not the norm. I can tell you that here in Rhode Island, the average time is much less than a week. Having said that, we're not where we need to be. We want to be at 48 hours. We want to be 48 hours gold standard, 2 to 3 days acceptable. And we do have too many people waiting longer. It's obviously not a problem unique to Rhode Island. It's a struggle everywhere. The reason is because commercial labs all over the country are overwhelmed, and that's causing a backlog. Dr. Alexander Scott is going to address this issue at length in her comments. I just want to let you know I understand it needs to get better. I'm committed to making it better, and the approach that we're taking is to try to become a little less dependent on the commercial labs and become over time more dependent on places like the state lab, local universities, local labs, frankly, that we have some more control over, and we hope that will reduce the wait time. And I'm sorry for those of you who have had to wait longer than you should have to wait. My primary message on testing today is more folks need to get tested. So right now, we have a daily capacity to perform over 5,000 tests a day, but on any given day, we are just at about 3,000. So we have, obviously, capacity to do more. So if you're listening to this press conference, the main message I'd like you to take around testing is that more people need to get tested. And so what does that mean? It means if you have symptoms, you're not feeling well, you have a headache, you have a fever, you have the sniffles, you're congested, you're coughing, please call your doctor and go get tested. Please, we need to do more testing. We need to know what's going on in the population. We need to get contact tracing going on people who test positive. Call your physician, go to a qualified health center, community health center, go to one of the walk-up testing centers, one of the community testing centers. We need you to get tested. If you're a personal service worker, or if you're a gym employee, a child care worker, a bus driver, a